I don't really want to make this video, but this topic has gone super viral and everybody is talking about this particular topic. People have their own ideas, different theories. Oh, the government should do this, or the government should do that. Different social institutions think it is the other institution's job to protect the vulnerable and the less privileged in our society. The church thinks that the state should be responsible for, handing out help, but the society also thinks that the church has a part to play in ensuring that the impoverished are well taken care of in our society. The topic is about the SNAP benefit. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel like I got something to say. And I figured the best way to say it is by reacting to a video here done by my brother called Amir Odom. Amir Odom has a successful YouTube channel. He has over 700,000 followers. That is a pretty big following. So he made a video reacting to other videos of people complaining, sharing their thoughts and their frustrations with the SNAP program. And he was kind of sending his attitude. I didn't like it. So I am here to educate my brother on some things, because the one thing that he said, I was like, bruh, you sound informed. You sound informed. So I'm here to shed more light and give my opinion concerning this particular topic, and also straighten Christians who think that the church does not have a role to play in ensuring that the vulnerable and the less privileged in our society are supposed to be taken care of. Okay, Amir Odom, if you're watching this, please don't send me a copyright. I'm just a brother like you, and I'm trying to succeed on the internet, and I found your video very interesting. Please, I'm gonna insult you though, but don't send me a copyright. Guys, let's get after this.
It's just we're gonna keep it real, y'all. We're gonna keep it real. There's no obligation for the government to really help you because you decide to open your legs and have 6 children.
First of all, he's talking about the obligation of the government. I want him to understand that the reason why the government exists is because society structured and organized itself to have a government. A government has a responsibility. So the government has obligations. The government is supposed to take care of the vulnerable because the government was given the responsibility of organizing, managing, and redistributing resources in our society. So if there is a social institution that is more responsible for helping people in our society, is the government. So bro, I think you're wrong right there. Let's keep watching.
That's expensive. Children are expensive, and it shouldn't be on a taxpayer's dime to help you out because you didn't do proper planning with your legs and finances.
We know children are very expensive, but you're not supposed to make it sound like it is a bad idea to do such a thing. Like, you sound like someone who looks down upon people who have children. You're like, ew, why would you do that? Why would you have children when you can't raise them? Sometimes it just happens. And for brothers like us, please don't tell those women to close their legs. We need those legs open.
Yeah, you have 6 kids, and I really do feel bad for those kids. But I also just feel bad for those kids in general, that they were raised in really, really hard times. And this is coming from someone who's been raised in hard times. Hello, been evicted, seen the car get repossessed, homeless, the whole 9. Like, I've been through it. It's sad. But at what point are we gonna stop letting our empathy cloud our judgment and just say, you know what, everyone gets a handout, everyone gets a free-for-all?
I think we are not addressing the right issue. And addressing the right issue means addressing the root of the problem. We are not supposed to be blaming victims and infantilizing them. We are supposed to be talking about what actually is causing this degree of dependency. And this degree of dependency is not caused by people's laziness or their choices in life or opening legs. this degree of dependency is caused by a problem that stems from bad or poor economic structures, because we have economic structures that reward efficiency more than human sustainability. So it is not a dependency problem, it is an economic frameworks problem. Dependency is a symptom of a huge, deeply rooted problem. I think that is the conversation that we are supposed to have. And to solve the problem of dependency, to reduce dependency, you don't cut SNAP benefits. What do? You fix the conditions that make SNAP programs necessary. Okay?
Despite people knowingly and willingly putting themselves in those situations.
Nobody does that. Nobody puts themselves in a position that could lead to, a bad quality of life. Nobody does that. Nobody does that.
And this is a little bit of a tangent, but this is why I get so frustrated when people are like, oh, gay people shouldn't adopt. Okay, well, it's like, damn, why can't a wealthy gay couple adopt 2 kids who need a home, put them in a really good school, take them on vacations, give them a really nice childhood, and set them up on a foundation to give them a good life? That's seen as like more bad. That's always being crapped on, this idea of 2 like gays adopting. But then we have people like this having kids nonstop, being raised in poor homes. You got stray people like just in the boonies, in the boonies and the hoods.
But this is not a problem. Okay, there are people who have kids, and there are people who have more kids who depend on SNAP programs. And there are people who have less kids who depend on SNAP programs. And there are people who don't have kids at all, and they still need the SNAP. So, like, you can't say that maybe having too many children is the primary cause for this particular woman doing what? Having this degree of dependency on government assistance.
Just popping our kids left and right. And it's like, yeah, hooray, family, hooray, family. But because I want to adopt, it's a problem. That's just a little tangent. That's just something that really irritates me. But we're going to see what this lady has to say. But off the bat, 6 kids is not my problem. Sorry.
And she never say that the kids she has are your problem. She is just saying there is a program that used to help a little bit, and now the program has been discontinued for a while.
And the thing about a lot of stereotypes is they say that if you're on SNAP benefits, you don't work hard, you sit on your butt and you just collect checks, when that's not the case. I work hard every single day. I get up.
That is the thing. People who are on SNAP benefits program are not lazy people. Some of them are extremely hard workers. Like, we have to understand why SNAP programs exist. SNAP programs exist because there is a significant number of people who cannot consistently, underline the word consistently, meet their basic needs just by work alone. That is why the government of the USA introduced that program, so that it can be a bridge. Okay, you gotta, you got some money, you can take care of other bills, let us take care of this other part as you figure your life out. That's exactly why SNAP benefits exist.
I get up every single day and clean houses, and I still rely on food stamps to feed my 6 children because the prices are so high. It's unrealistic to think about not having food stamps. Next month, I'm so terrified because 6 babies are always eating. Plus myself, I eat about 1 meal a day, but still. And it's like, they always say don't rely on the government. But sometimes, like,
I was just about to say that. Like, I want to let her talk. You shouldn't be relying on the government. That was a key word that really stuck out to me, because I'm all for helping you out. But the second you're dependent on the government just to exist, like you are depending on it because you decide to have 6 kids.
Again, I already made my point very clear that her reliance on the government is not something that she really has power over, okay? People are working out here and they are barely getting reasonable minimum wages to meet their basic needs. How about we do that? How about we have a real conversation, not blaming and infantilizing the victims or telling them, you're not being frugal enough with the help or the aid that you're receiving. How about we talk about the real issues? Okay? How about we have real conversations about what exactly is causing these kind of women or other people out there to be heavily reliant on the government? It is because these people are working, but they are being paid shitty money. Like the minimum, it's not even reasonable. And then the cost of living is ridiculously high. You also have to consider the fact that things are expensive. Everything is expensive. Every single thing is expensive. And right now, we are being educated and the job market does not really appreciate our skills. So we are being, let's talk about those issues. Because if we solve those issues, then this problem, this symptom right here, it will die on its own.
I don't know what to tell you. I don't.
In situations right now where the government literally has raised prices over 300% on just everything, eggs, milk, everything, you do have to rely on stamps, especially in my situation where I just got custody of 3 children on top of mine. So we need it. Like, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm terrified right now. And I don't know if anyone else is scared, but this is scary.
It's scary, and I feel bad for the children, but like, it's not our problem.
Really? I really hate his attitude. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't hate you, bro, but your attitude, you sound condescending. Like, you sound like someone who knows it all. Like, this lady is doing something wrong. Look, the lady is trying. She is doing everything that she knows. Maybe you know more than her. Maybe there is something you know that can help her. But as long as she's involved, she knows that she is doing everything in her power to make her situation better. But you, my brother, it's not enough. Like, listen, bruh, come on, man. You gotta be compassionate. You gotta be kind. People are going through a lot out there, and the least you can do is show them a little bit of, just compassion. Just pretend you understand them. Pretend. If, I don't think that is so much to ask.
I feel like on one end, I do feel bad saying that, and it sucks. But on the other, it's like, you the one that had 6 kids. 3 now, and you've got custody of 3 more. So why did you bring on more? At what point?
Why are you going out of your way and including children? I don't think children are even supposed to be part of this conversation. Like, are you trying to make her ashamed of having children? What exactly are you doing here? Like, why are you making childbearing sound uncool? Something that is only going to bring problems on this planet. Nah, man, don't do that. Don't do that, bro. Don't do that. And stop telling these women to close them legs. We need them legs open, man. Niggas like us, we need them legs open, motherfucker.
At what point are we going to prioritize this, like, healthy family planning? At what point are we going to prioritize being financially smart, family planning, having...
Sounds good in theory. That sounds really good in theory. I wish he was a little bit older than that, and he had kids, and he had people who depended on him, like real responsibilities. Right now he's young, and he's like, I'm on top of the world, and you can say anything in your situation, sitting behind a computer, behind a camera, you get an expensive microphone pointing towards you, and you're just talking into a microphone, and at the end of the month you got some money, good money coming in your... Bro, that's easy.
Good goals set out for yourself. Like, when is that going to take priority instead of you just freeballing life and then expecting the government to help you for life? Something's got to give.
Bruh, I don't know what to tell him, but he is really wrong. His judgment of this woman is just wrong. Like, I know, man. Like, don't do that. And I just want to address Christians. While we are on the same topic, I just want to address Christians. There are Christians. There is a subset of Christians who often say that people who don't work do not deserve to eat. Let me tell you something, guys. Stop quoting the Bible all the time when you are addressing or when you are discussing modern issues such as poverty, oppression, discrimination, racism, human sexuality, stuff like that. The Bible is a very primitive book. The Bible is a very primitive book. Do Christians really know that they are comparing a 20 to 40,000 people society to a 50 or 350 million people society? Do you know that? When you quote these Bible verses and slap them onto everything, okay? Like, you also have to understand that the Israelites' idea of work was very different from our modern idea of work. For Israelites, work meant doing chores that ensured the survival of society. For us, work means employment, doing activities that earn you wages and salaries. Let me just help you state the difference between ancient Israel and our modern societies. In ancient Israel, they had land, so they grew food and they lived in tents. In our societies, landlords control food. So food is very expensive. In ancient Israel, they protected the poor. They had something called gleaning laws. So these gleaning laws commanded Israelites not to harvest crops on the margin of their land so that the poor can pass by and harvest something for themselves. In this society, we blame the poor. We blame the victims. We infantilize them instead of addressing the structures that are oppressing them. In ancient Israel, debt was forgiven. But in our society today, people die with debt. And then in Israel, after 50 years, they reset the cycle of wealth. They had something called Jubilee. So every 50 years, if your ancestors or your grandparents owned land, you go back to your land. It does not matter who possesses the land right now. So it's just different, okay? And you also have to understand that right now in our society, the job market is very, very competitive. Ancient Israelites, there was no unemployment. Unemployment was not a concept that they could even conceptualize because work was provided by nature. Right now, companies have to employ people, and they don't just employ any people. They want people who have went to school, they have degrees and they have qualifications. Do you see the difference? So don't tell people that just because you don't work, you don't deserve to eat. No. People are doing whatever they can. People are doing everything in their power to be productive members of our society. But you have to differentiate our circumstances from the biblical circumstances that surrounded the Israelites.
Do that.
So I'm going to chime in on these SNAP benefits videos I've been seeing. People are upset because, they're saying like our hard-earned tax dollars goes to people who don't work or whatever. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'd rather my hard-earned tax dollars go to some people I see on a regular basis. Just people that live in my country. Even if you're here illegally, whatever. I'd rather know the money's here than all these $30 million shipments Israel's getting, Ukraine is getting, Argentina's getting 50 million.
That's valid to a certain extent. The money is staying here, being recirculated here, but that doesn't mean I'm also okay with it being taken advantage of. It doesn't mean I'm also okay with the amount of taxes that I pay. Just,
can I just ask him, what exactly does he mean by his money being taken advantage of? That his taxes being taken advantage of? The brother on the other video just stated that he'd feel much better knowing that the money is helping solve real issues in his country. The money is empowering his fellow citizens. But bro, Amir here is thinking that that money is being taken advantage of just by it being used to empower the less privileged individuals in the society. Really? Come on, man.
just watching it being abused, because that's not fun for me. It's not fun paying these taxes and then seeing it just getting taken advantage of or used. So yeah, on one end, I'm glad it's staying in the United States, but on the other end, I'm also not happy that I'm being taken advantage of.
50 million, like I'd rather the money stay here. And we can say whatever we want to say about the people that's been getting them for 20 plus years, and I don't care. I don't care.
You should.
We vote for all these different politicians because we think the money's going to stay here. The money's never going to stay here. We're never going to benefit from our tax dollars. So the only time you can benefit from our tax dollars is if you get government assistance. So anybody that can get government assistance, let them. Because that's the only time we're going to see our money. Other than that, our money goes overseas.
I don't agree with that fully at all. You can see the tax money around you, where you live, the roads you're driving on, all the service people. Like, you can see the money being spent in other areas outside of food stamps. He's almost like this guy's borderline like black pill. This guy's borderline just kind of giving up and just like, you know what, whatever. The system's the system. Let's just run it up. And that's not my vibe at all.
Yeah, Amir is kind of right, because yeah, tax dollars or taxpayers' money most of the time is spent in building infrastructure, building roads, bridges, those amenities, sometimes constructing hospitals, schools, yeah. But I'm not saying that to mean the taxpayers' money should not be used to help those in need in our societies. No. Let's do all of it. Let's do it all, bro.
I saw that they were sending money to Zanzibar for some other... To me, it just...
Yeah, that is true. That is true. And as we speak, have you seen Trump, dude is just going after these people in Minnesota, like these Somalians who have been terrorizing the state of Minnesota and just embezzling and stealing. And Trump said a very funny thing the other day, that why don't we get people from Denmark? Why can't we get people from Norway? Why can people from Poland come here? Just a few of them, good people. Why do we always get people from Somalia? And the only thing they are good at is going after ships. Yeah, that was good. Like, Trump is naturally funny. I really like that dude, because like, if Trump was not a politician and a successful entrepreneur, I think he'd have a successful career doing comedy. Trump is, I mean, the only thing Somalians are good at is going after ships. That is crazy, bro. That was crazy, man.
It seems like they're sending money over to these shell companies that are owned by our politicians. That's why these bills are, for some strange reason, are like 8,000 pages long.
Yeah, that's valid
because
too.
There's all kind of little sneaky shit that's just placed in, hidden in, buried in. Let the people get their SNAP benefits, because at least the money's staying here. At least they're taking the SNAP benefits and they're buying groceries at an American grocery store. At least the money's going to be circulated here.
That's valid to a certain extent. It's like, yes, I'm glad the money's staying here, but again, that doesn't mean it's free reign for it to be taken advantage of, abused, or so on and so forth.
I don't care.
For Amir to say that, I think his concerns about this issue of freeloaders I'm the one. I'm the only person who gets to work, and then you're not really contributing anything to the sustainability of the society, and making the world better, something like that. And I think there is this notion in the States that middle class people pay most taxes, and the middle class people, I think Amir is in the middle class people. I think dude is doing pretty well for himself. I think he's in the middle. So in the middle class, I think I also understand why he feels taken advantage of, because they get to pay for everything that is happening in the United States of America.
Who get the money? I don't care if they're illegal immigrants that's getting SNAP benefits. I've heard somebody say Sharkeisha, I don't care who gets the benefits, long as they're here with the benefits. That's what I want. I want the SNAP benefits to go to whoever is inside this country.
That's flawed in itself, like saying, I don't even care if they're illegal immigrants, because then that incentivizes more illegal immigrants to come here and then use up all our tax-paying money that you're complaining about is being sent everywhere else, but now you're also okay with it being given to people that aren't even from here, that are coming.
Not really. That is, I think you misread the whole thing. His problem is his money going out to other countries. So as long as his money is being spent and used in the USA, regardless of who spends the money, he doesn't have a problem with that. He does not have a problem with that as long as you are in the USA. Look, the illegal immigrants issue is not really a problem that he can solve. Okay? That is a problem the government can solve. The government has to do processing of the people who are entering the country and determine who has the qualifications. Who has the qualifications to enter the USA. And whoever doesn't meet the requirements is not supposed to be let into the USA. So the government is failing in separating wheat from chaff. But his point is the money that is paying in form of tax has to be spent in the USA, regardless of who uses it. As long as it doesn't get out, he's okay with that.
Here to take advantage of it. There's a lot of holes in that, but I will give credit to that. At least it's going back into American grocery stores, and with this being cut off, it is going to impact grocery stores. It's going to impact the mom and pop shops. I get it, but on the other end, this just shows how it shows how you really do need to take advantage and prioritize of your own life and not depend so much on the government, because the government can be shut down like that. Things can be taken away from you like that. That's why you need.
Who is shutting down the government? We're gonna get to that, because there is something that people don't understand about these social institutions, the government being one of them. We're gonna get to that. Just hold on for a little bit.
Savings account is why people need to budget, but something's gotta give. And this government shutdown and whole food stamps is nothing new, but it's definitely exposing a lot in the way people are responding and how people always ended up using the food stamp.
All right, maybe a hot take, but I don't give a how the freezing of SNAP benefits in a week is going to affect me. I really don't. And it's crazy to me that so many people are only starting to give a that 42 million people, 39% of which are kids.
42 million people. 42 million people. That's a lot. America as a society is comprised of over 350 million people. So 42 million people is like, that's a lot. I don't know. I'm not good at math, okay? I wanted to say something crazy, and then I was like, you could be wrong. You're not good at math, so just stick to speaking, okay? But that's a lot. 42 million people is a lot. That's a huge number. Yeah, for a first world country. Yeah, that's a huge number.
Are about to lose their SNAP benefits is because they're starting to realize how it could affect them. Whether that means small grocery stores in their area go out of business or the cost of food rises for them. I don't give a fuck about that. I give a fuck that 42 million people are about to struggle to survive as the weather gets colder, as the holidays start rolling around. That's what I give a fuck. I give a that 39% of them are children. I give a so many.
Yeah, like for real, for real. Where is that? You know, the quality of being like we are humans, and the core of humans is just being, you know, like having feelings, having empathy, putting yourself in other people's positions, and you're like, no, man. Regardless of what is going on, regardless of my political, you know, affiliation, regardless of my ideology, regardless of my beliefs and values, nobody deserves to starve. Nobody deserves to sit out in the cold. Nobody deserves to nobody deserves to suffer just because I want to be right. Amen.
Of them are disabled or elderly and can't get to a food pantry. I give a that these food pantries are not going to be able to keep up with this.
I feel bad for them too, and something needs to be done in order to get these something's trying to be done. I mean, hello, we saw with the Ground News article that keeps being blocked. However, I do want these people to be fed, but also want, like, maybe the top of the year, maybe like January 1st, all SNAP benefits wiped. Everybody reapply, and when you reapply,
that is not really, bro, like, you gotta stop. Like, you're not going to solve the problem by cutting the SNAP benefit. Cutting the SNAP benefit is not going to help solve the problem. Like, this is another argument that Christians have. Like, Christians feel like they are right to deny people help just because that that the church's mission is spiritual and not material, or because they think that you know providing help all the time creates dependency, or they think that this responsibility belongs to the government and not them. And I think as a society we are now asking the question. Let me reframe this question. We are not asking whose responsibility is it to take care of the vulnerable. We are asking, other than the state, who else has the resources and capacity to take care of the vulnerable in our society? And the uncomfortable answer is that no one, if you remove the economy, because capitalism was not meant to share resources. Now you remain with one other institution, which is the church. The church has the capacity, the church has the resources to help the poor people. That is why as a society we demand the church to step in every single time the state fails. We are not telling you that you primarily have a responsibility of feeding people, but when the government is weak and it cannot fulfill such an obligation, you, the church, have what it takes to make sure that people do not starve to death. So why don't you do that? That is all we are asking you. But you come up with all excuses. Oh, the church mission is spiritual, not material. Oh, giving help creates dependency. Oh, the responsibility of feeding the vulnerable in our society is the government's and not the church. So you come up with all these excuses, but you forget that even Jesus in the Bible fed people. He fed hungry people. He healed the sick, and he also took care of the marginalized before he preached to them. You also forget that this dependency issue is not because you're helping. Helping someone does not cause them to be dependent. Helping without structures, especially economic structures, proper economic structure is what is creating dependency. You also have to understand that if you abandon the desperate, you're making a huge mistake. Abandonment creates the worst form of dependency, which is desperation. And if you think I'm lying, go ask the Frenchmen what happened in France from 1789 to 1799 during the French Revolution. During this moment, the Frenchmen were starving. They were sick. They were frustrated. They were desperate, but the church did not help, and yet they had all the resources in abundance. So people stopped. People grew tired of waiting for a solution. So they went ahead and they raided the church. Yes, they raided the church. Trust me, you don't want to be the only rich institution in a poor society. It is bad for you. Let's keep watching this.
Fly, boom, you're getting sent a package. I would love that. I would love that. Everybody gets canceled, everybody reapplies, and then you get your little meal kits and you go about your day. And the meal kits are also put together by the local community, so you're getting fresh groceries and fresh produce. I can rock with that. I can. Because I do feel bad for all the children out there. But again, at what point is our empathy clouding our judgment? At what point are we going to call out the bad parents that just can't close their legs? So at what
Bro, we need them legs open, motherfucker. Niggas like us, we need them legs open. Stop saying that. Stop.
We call the bad parents who can't budget. At what point we're going to point out the bad parents who are just literally depending, like actively depending on the government to feed them? What do we do about that, and where do we go?
Why don't we talk about real stuff? Like, bro, you haven't mentioned the economy, you haven't mentioned the education, you haven't mentioned the fact that automation and artificial intelligence and robotics are displacing people in the job market. Those are the real issues. Let me read you some statistics so that you understand where I'm coming from and you know that I am not making these things up. There's statistics that were done and they determine that as of 2025, over 14 million jobs worldwide have already been displaced by AI technology. Another statistics say that in the US, around 2.4 million jobs were impacted by AI automation between 2020 to 2024, with an estimated additional 1.1 million in 2025. Nobody is talking about the fact that in the UK alone, up to 3 million low-skilled jobs could be lost to AI.
That I have, it's a sad one, but it's the truth.
And as much as I try to push out videos of how people can help food pantries in their area, what they need, how to contact them, how to volunteer, how to donate, it's not enough. It's not going to be enough. There are going to be millions and millions of people who struggle to survive. That's what I give. I don't understand why so many people cannot care about their neighbor unless it starts to touch them. These videos that I'm trying to make to help as many people as possible.
Your face. See the face? See the face he's making? He thinks that such a thing cannot happen, bro. The most dangerous people in the society are desperate people. I'll keep saying this. I said this on TikTok and I told people, nobody is safe in a broken country. Bro, nobody is safe in a broken country. Nobody is safe in Somalia. That is why people in Somalia are running. Somalians dread going back to Somalia. I saw a video on TikTok of a Somalian who was deported back to Somalia. He was literally crying. He was crying and begging.
Here's a man who was sent back to Somalia. Watch what he says here. Go ahead, Rob.
أنا محاول إن دبي أنت اللي وضو باسبوركي ولا قاطي راعي ساوك جرا أنتو قفوا إمبسي لزال كورو إلى كبغض لسؤال عند علي. I don't want to be here no more. I'm so tired of being here. This place. This is where I'm living. So tired of it. It's just like I want to go back. I don't want to be here no more. I don't cut my hair. I don't shave. I don't do nothing.
That is what happens when you live in a broken society. It is extremely dangerous. And for you to make this face, it means you do not understand. You don't want to be the only person who owns a mansion in a ghetto. You don't want to be the only person who owns a Tesla or a Lamborghini or a Bugatti in a society where people are struggling to eat. You don't want to be that guy. Because people, desperate people, will find you and they will take what they think they need from you. They will harm you and they won't even care. Because desperation pushes people to do desperate things. Okay, bruh? Just saying.
Is that not just life? Ooh, this episode's spicy. It takes a lot of patience. It's going to take a lot of patience. It's going to take a lot of just like processing. Because like, it sucks that so many people are going to have to struggle in life. What is life? We don't live in this society, or at least I don't aspire to live in this society, in this world where everything is easy for everybody and everybody gets access to different things, because at the end of the day, somebody has to fund it. I'm all for it being using as a hand up, not a hand out. I'm all in favor. Like, I will feel bad. I feel bad for the people who are actively like depending on it, that are using it the right way, that only takes the bare minimum, that like, I'm gonna feel bad for them. But at the same time, life, what are you actively doing to make sure that you and your family will be good no matter what happens outside of this home? What are we doing to make sure of that? Do you have meal kits, survival kits? Do you know how to grow your own food? Do you know where you'll go and get groceries? Would you have these things set up? Savings accounts, extra groceries, deep freezers of meat. Like, are there things you're doing to prepare for your family and yourself to survive at X amount of time? Should have learned this from COVID.
Bro, what are you saving, man? What are you saving? You are struggling. You are barely meeting your basic needs. What are you saving? You don't have money to save. There is inadequacy, insufficiency. What are you saving? What are you saving?
Like,
I don't want to sound like I'm overthinking it, because I know a lot of y'all can't
Now, guys. You don't want to miss this part.
keep up, but this SNAP benefit situation clearly shows y'all could not survive a world built off natural selection. If the government really stood back.
How is natural selection relevant in this conversation? Do you even know what natural selection is? Keep talking. I'ma get back to you.
If they just let everything go and let the world be who they want to be without them, y'all would not.
Why would the government step back? Do you even know what the government is, bruh?
Survive.
That's what I was talking about. Like, at what point will we kick in
Amir is on board. Amir is on the same page with this guy. So,
like, it's hard because I do appreciate the benefits. I do appreciate the structure and how everything is. But on the other side, you should also always be prepared and ready to fend for yours and make sure yours is always good. And again, like, you're screaming no kings, but then you want the kings to protect you, to feed you, to provide for you, to make sure everything's all good and dandy. That doesn't make sense to me. And it's evident that you wouldn't survive natural selection, just how the world is.
But let me say something. The reason why people protest against the government is not because they want to eliminate or abolish the government. People do not want a governless state. They don't want to live in states where there is no structure. The reason why people protest is because they want the government to do a better job. People have expectations on the government, and protests is a form of communication. People are communicating their frustrations and disappointments towards the government. Their expectations have not been met. That is why they protest, not because they want a governless state. What is natural selection? What is he talking about? Let me educate them what natural selection is and what natural selection is not. First of all, natural selection is not the strongest win. They destroy the weaker opponent, and the weaker opponent necessarily dies. Natural selection has always been us, human beings, cooperating, okay, taking care of the vulnerable, and coming up with ideas and dividing labor so that we get to see the next day, so that we get to sustain our communities and our society. Like, if you are going to depend on raw power and strength to make your way across anything or just to live, then you will not survive for a very long time. Humans are not the strongest species on the earth, but we are the most dominant species on earth because we cooperate, we have structures, we have institutions, we are highly intelligent, we have better communication channels. That is why we are the dominant species. Like, if you put one very strong man against 10 weak individuals who are cooperative, then the strong man is not gonna stand a chance against the 10 weak people who can cooperate and plan and come up with ideas. Bro, that is just that. Like, natural selection explains what happens in nature, but natural selection does not explain what should happen in nature. That is because your loved one or people are terminally ill in our society. We do not take them to the hospital and kill them right away. What do? We take them to the hospital and try to care for them despite the fact that we know they will be dying anytime soon. That is the difference. Okay? Natural selection does not explain what should be. Gosh.
Really is if you're all up in arms about these food stamps being gone for a month.
Say they just only protected us from invasion of other countries, but you have to do everything else yourself. Y'all would not survive the natural selection. You couldn't get your own food. You couldn't keep your own crib. You couldn't educate your own kids. Y'all would literally not survive a world of natural selection. Y'all response to the SNAP benefits is don't celebrate the holiday. Keep your money. Everyone's going to be affected because food prices going to go up. Yeah, but this is natural selection. This is how the world moves.
It's called social Darwinism. And historically, this kind of thinking has led to disaster. This is social Darwinism. This is very, I don't know, wolves and whatever.
Without the government, right? What y'all gonna do when all those wolves start attacking the sheeps? You either gonna turn into a wolf yourself, you gonna follow behind them like a fox, or you gonna be slaughtered.
Stop, bro. Stop talking about the wolves and stuff. You're two young men. I see potential in you, but there are stuff you need to learn. First of all, do you know there is something called civilization? Like, we live in a civilized society. Do you know what that means? A long time ago, humans agreed that, you know what, we don't really have to fight and scramble for resources. Therefore, let us start working on a project called civilization. Okay, and civilization, we decided to set up structures and organizations and institutions and corporations and cultures so that we don't have to fight and struggle for resources. We don't have to be animals. We don't have to kill each other for a glass of water or for a jar of beans. We don't have to do that. Like, civilization is a deliberate rejection of survival by raw power. That's exactly what civilization is. So in a civilized society, we have health. We have hospitals to provide healthcare. We have schools to provide education. We have prisons to provide discipline. We have courts to provide justice. We have what else do we have? We have the military and the police to provide peace. We have banks to provide what? To protect our finances. We have the government to organize and distribute and manage our resources. We live in a civilized society, and this thing that you're talking about, that the government is gonna, shut down and blah 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 blah, stop. Stop. This is how things work. Okay, imagine you are, I'm talking to these guys now. Okay, so imagine you are in an apartment. That apartment is the society, and in that apartment you have a fridge, you have a TV, you have a microwave, you have a dishwasher, you have a you have a washing machine. All those things are different social institutions, like for example schools and religion and stuff. So those are all social institutions, and one of those social institutions is the government. The government is a social institution. It is like a fridge in your house, and the fridge is meant to serve the needs of the house. So the government is also meant to serve the needs of the society. Okay, so we, the society, expect the government to do better. If the government malfunctions or they underperform, we, the society, we can critique them and even remove them from that position. The same way, if our refrigerator misbehaves in your house or underperforms, you can remove the refrigerator. So the society is not up here, and the society, so the government is not up here, and then the society is down here. The government is in the society, is part of the society, and it serves and sustains the society. So for you to say that the government might decide to shut down, no, it will not decide to shut down, because it is something that we generated as a society. I'm really tired. I've been yelling. Okay, guys, subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the fucking channel. I've been here for 5 years. I haven't even hit 1,000 subscribers, man. What the fuck is wrong with YouTube, man? Come on, subscribe to the channel, like the video, like the fucking video, or we're gonna have a problem.
That's how natural selection works. And there's one issue with just benefits. It's showing y'all that y'all are biting the hand that feeds you. A lot of y'all are against the government. You constantly protesting. You constantly talking about them. But then you turn to the same internet where you're bashing them, and you're trying to hold them accountable to continue to feed you and put food on your table.
Yeah, the reason why we do that is because the government is not superior. The government is supposed to serve humanity. The government is here. The society is here. The government is in the society to serve the needs of the society. I think I made that clear, right?
They don't have to do that. This is them showing you we don't have to do a lot of the things we do. But they understand the benefits of who they are. And a lot of people take it for granted. You can't be biting the hand that feeds you and then turning around and talking shit about the person who that hand belonged to.
He ain't wrong. Again, I hear protesting nonstop about the government this, government that. But now you're like, I want the government needs to feed me.
The reason why we protest is because we expect better from the government, and it is our way of communicating our frustration and disappointment with the government. It's not us asking that the government be abolished or something. Whoever does that does not understand how society functions. If you abolish the government, you defund the police, or you even eliminate the police, and all of a sudden you remove or you abolish the idea of prisons, and if you don't have courts, you don't have all these institutions, primary institutions and supplementary social institutions, you're gonna have a problem. And even they cannot live in a society that is that orderless. Things are naturally chaotic, and we created all these institutions to instill order in the society. Okay, and to finish this video, I think these are two young men. Okay, they're two young men. They don't really know much about life. I'm not saying that I know a lot about life, but I'm just saying they're young. So they think life is always gonna be this way. They don't really understand what responsibility means. So they're like, you know what, you guys don't understand these wolves, blah blah blah. Wait till your 40s and your 60s, and now your responsibilities have piled up. That is when you will start feeling the weight of responsibility. You have kids, okay? Probably you'll have some kids. You have kids, you have to feed them, you have to clothe them, you have to buy them stuff, toys, you also have to educate them, you have to ensure that your mortgage and your mortgage has been paid for, maybe your business is collapsing. Like, you have all responsibility. That is when you're going to understand why people are lamenting and begging the government, please do not do this. Yeah, because you're young, and right now you can jump from one state to another, from Minnesota to Colorado to New Mexico to Arizona to Wyoming to Texas. Like, you can be all over the place. New York, Miami, like, no, you can go wherever you want. But when responsibility starts piling up, you will understand exactly why these people are crying and they are yelling and they are begging that the government doesn't do this. So guys, that is our video. That is all I had to say. Yeah, and I want you to go in the comment section. I want you to give us your thoughts. Who is right between me and them? Who is right? Who makes more sense? Okay, are they making more sense here, or am I making sense? There are things that I wanted to cover, but for the sake of time, we're not gonna do that. I just want to remind you that the main thing, the main point of this particular video was to at least help us understand what exactly is the problem with what exactly should we address when we are discussing SNAP benefits and other social welfare programs. Okay, it is not that the people who depend those programs are lazy and stuff. It is just that sometimes our systems are fucked up. Okay, that is why I even reframed the question from whose responsibility is it to feed the vulnerable in the society to, other than the state, who else has the capacity and the resources to ensure that the vulnerable in the society are well taken care of. So guys, if you enjoyed, subscribe, like, comment. Adios. See you next time.